Well, you know, Sean, all eyes are on Georgia as the president and his legal team are still mounting legal challenges in the state. And earlier today, the president tweeting this: the Republican governor of Georgia, Brian Kemp, and the Secretary of State must immediately allow a signature verification match on the presidential election. If that happens, we quickly and easily win the state and, importantly, pave the way for a big David and Kelly win. You know, he's been tweeting about it almost every day.
Yeah, well, and he's heading down there to Georgia this weekend. I talked to him about that on the phone the other night. He's excited to get down there and get out the vote for David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler, the two incumbent senators that are vying to stay in office and keep the Senate in Republican hands at this January 5th runoff.
Yeah, I mean, this is crucial. The president's talking about it a lot for a reason. This really matters, and like you mentioned, it determines who controls the Senate, and we need that right now.
Yeah, we've gotten a lot of emails and feedback from this. I just want to be very clear. Everything the president has done is at stake. Chuck Schumer made it very, very clear. He said, first we take Georgia, then we take the nation. All of these things, they will pack the court, they will expand D.C., they will undo the tax cuts, the regulation. People have to understand everything is at stake. There is no reason not to vote. AOC put out a tweet this morning that says, if we win the Senate, we need to be aggressive in our cabinet picks. Make no mistake about it, folks. If you have a problem, it needs to be addressed. I get it. But you need to vote if you live in Georgia. This is crucial.
Yeah, that's a great word, Sean, because it is crucial.
Well, I want to keep talking about that, but I also want to mention real quick, we had Alyssa Farah on last night, White House Communications Director. She actually announced her resignation just early before the show started. I want to wish her well. Thanks for coming on. I hope we didn't do anything to offend her, but thank you for her service to this country. But back to Georgia for a moment. One of the folks that's leading the president's efforts down there that will be at this big rally with the president is Georgia Congressman Doug Collins, and he joins us now. Congressman, welcome back. Good to see you.
Hey, Sean. It's good to see you all as well.
There's an election official down there that I'm sure you're aware of. His name is Gabriel Sterling. He predicted Thursday that some of these efforts to overturn the 2020 election results are actually going to drive down turnout for this key Senate race, according to at least what he told Politico. Do you share that concern?
I share it to an extent. I mean, people talk about the election, y'all just talked about it. But the issue is when people start to realize, and I think when the president comes down on Saturday, things that I've been saying and others have been saying, David, Perdue, Kelly Loeffler have been saying, really go to the heart of this. This is about a battle for the really ideological control of the country. And when you get Chuck Schumer, you get AOC tweeting what she does. Look, Joe Biden's already determined this is going to be a second run of the Obama administration. You look at who he's been appointing. And if you look at what they did those first 2 years, just go back and it will be that on steroids this time. So Georgia is so important. I think the president's going to emphasize this. There are issues that we're dealing with. There are issues that we've had in Georgia. But, you know, look, from Gabriel Sterling's point of view, I mean, look, I would rather him focus on counting the votes, making sure they're right, counting legal votes, than worrying about the political aspirations of the Senate and then the president. We'll be able to work on that and make sure our voters turn out, because that's got to happen.
So last night, Lyndsay and I were talking about what's going on there, and I mentioned that Sidney Powell had told a rally down there, don't vote until certain things happen, right? I get what she's trying to do. I appreciate the fact that she's trying to instill additional integrity, but the bottom line is we need to overwhelm that vote, right? I talked to the president about this the other night on the phone. He gets it, but the problem is I got a ton of emails last night that said, you know, we're not voting, we've given up on the system, Sidney's preaching the truth. I mean, this concerns me. Because if we don't win this vote, they run rampant. And so what does the president's message need to be in Georgia this weekend?
It needs to be get out to vote. It means that if you support me, and this is what I'll say to look, and I'm glad that Sidney and them are, you know, that's the part of what they're doing in the election to try and bring out some things that need to be discussed, and that's fine. But at the end of the day, if our voters stay at home, then we lose.
Yes.
Period. We don't have a chance. And so the president has to come in, I think he will, is say, look, we've got these issues. We're going to deal with those issues, and we are. But at the same point in time, if you voted for Donald Trump and you're staying at home, then you're not following through on your support of Donald Trump. You've got to get out there and support him, because if Chuck Schumer has no desire to continue the policies that have made America great for the last 4 years, he has no desire to not only not do those, but actually take us in reverse, higher taxes, more regulation. And also for those of us on this show and others, I do not want to see it go into Democrat hands, because I still want to see the Senate Judiciary Committee, the Senate Homeland Committee, and the Government Affairs Committee actually continue the investigations. Those are things that can't stop. So a Trump voter has no excuse for getting back out.
100%, because that's the point. The one thing you just said, reverse. They won't just stop things. They will go in reverse. They will pack the court. They will pack it, and they will take things backwards. They will undo this Trump agenda and all the progress that he's made. You could not be more right about this. And I think if you want to maintain what the president did, you need to go out there and vote. And the only way we win is by overwhelming it, because you can't split this. If Purdue wins, Loeffler wins. But if the Democrats win, it's a twofer, and they take control. And all the chairmen that go with it, that's it, because it's the chairman of Homeland Security, the chairman of the Finance Committee. All of those go with it. But, you know, it's interesting because I get it, and I think you get it. The president, I know, gets it. But the bottom line is, I think that there are some Republicans. I saw Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger. He took some shots at you. Is this infighting hurting our chances?
Well, I think, again, I would rather the Secretary of State. Look, it's been interesting. All I did was call out things that actually need to take place in Georgia. If he wants to take shots at me, that's fine. He needs to, basically do his job, work his department, and I'll live with my comments. He can live with his, because, look, I think he needs to do his job. I think he can do it. I think he's trying. He's now opened 250 investigations. I mean, again, these were the things that I was talking about and others talking about, not the simple fact that these need to be rushed under the, swept under the rug. We have issues. We have signature verification that we do believe was actually compromised in this process of actual verification. We do have issues of them sending out an absentee request to every registered voter. I know of many people who got more than one. We now have right now outside groups from all over the country that are sending in saying, here, I know of a 13-year-old girl who actually got an absentee ballot request. She's not even registered to vote. And they said, well, you can register to vote. These are the kind of things that we need to focus on. Again, I think too many people are focusing on the fact, look, nobody should be threatening any poll workers. Nobody should be threatening ballots. This is about democracy. And I will say this, it's time for Republicans to get out, to go do exactly what Democrats have been doing, knock on doors, registering people to vote, getting our people out there, and then that's how we win this election.
So two things. One is, I want to make sure every time that you hear of this, someone getting something irregularity, we need to document it this time. We can't be doing it after the fact the way that we did with President Trump and saying, I wish someone had said something. When we see it now, this is like that old TSA thing. If you say something, see something, say something. We need to call it out. We need to document it. If you're a 13-year-old girl and you're getting an absentee ballot, we need to document that, because we've also heard of these people from out of state, these groups that Stacey Abrams founded with Senate hopeful Raphael Warnock. There was a story that this group, Vote Forward, is out there, aggressively trying to get people, register them from out of state, ineligible or deceased voters, all before this January 5th runoff. What are you hearing about it?
Well, we're hearing that. And what I'm going to encourage is what the Attorney General in Georgia has said and reminded everyone, if you want to, falsify applications, if you want to do this, these are felonies in Georgia. And if you, one of the things that I got that was just amazing to me is Andrew Yang saying, I'm going to move to Georgia and vote. Well, come on, Andrew Yang, move to Georgia and then move back and then get charged with a felony. That's what would happen, because that's what I'm going to encourage everybody to do. And this is where we got to understand, this is not a game. To the Democrats right now, they're thinking it's a game. But at the end of the day, this is about the future of America. This is not about going forward. It's about going backwards. David Perdue, Kelly Loeffler have to be reelected here, because the alternatives are John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock. I just put any conservative in Georgia. Do not think, put everything else aside, your support for president, everything else aside. If you want your family and your future to be better, you got to get out and vote. This is not an option.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Congressman, I think you and I were talking before the segment started off air. I think it's great. This is just to give people an idea of what Pelosi or Schumer controlling. Tell us why you're in the House tomorrow. Like, you guys are in Washington in session. What are you voting on tomorrow?
Marijuana.
And what else?
And also we voted on Tiger King bills about this is what we say. It's a fitting sort of ending for the Pelosi 26, the 116th Congress. Started with nothing, ending with nothing, and all they did was try to attack this president in the middle. I'm sick of it. I've been over it for a long time.
If they're going to legalize pot and get people high, they should have done it at the beginning of this Congress, because it seems kind of backwards that you have to wait till the end. But it's true. I mean, you're voting on legalizing pot and a Tiger King bill. For my goodness, this is what the House control under Nancy Pelosi is like. Congressman, thanks for everything you're doing down in Georgia. Good luck this weekend with the president. Hope to have you back soon.
Thanks, Sean. Take care.
You just watched Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news channel, now in more than 70 million homes. You can get Newsmax TV on your cable system or check your cable guide. And if your system doesn't carry Newsmax, call them, tell them you want Newsmax TV, because we're real news for real people.